Hi, I'm Wade and welcome to Cheapskate Gamer Video Supplemental. You know, I love arcade games, especially light gun games. But to really enjoy light gun games at home using emulators such as MAME or direct-to-PC arcade ports, you really need a great light gun system. So today we're demonstrating a set of light guns simply named Arcade Guns from arcadeguns.com. My test kit came OEM style, no special packaging, but it was well protected using bubble wrap. Two guns in the kit, a blue one and a red one, and two manuals which you can see right here. The guns connect using USB cabling, and you can choose between a cased or an uncased infrared sensor. This is the cased infrared sensor in the back. The tools I used were these to attach to my widescreen LCD monitor. Now I chose Velcro strips, which I purchased from a local office supply store. Double-sided tape or other adhesives will work just as well. I place that in the middle center of my monitor and the other piece on the back of my IR sensor. These sensors work with all types of monitors, LCD, plasma, CRT. You want to get your IR sensor nice and balanced on the top of your monitor just like this. Now all components, both guns and the IR sensor, connect to the back of the PC using USB cables. The guns had a nice feel, good heft, no rattling parts. There are three buttons, the inside handle button, the trigger of course, and the larger button on the back of the gun. Good feel, good resistance. Now calibration can be a little tricky when you have a widescreen monitor like I do. So I marked the sides of my monitor with stickies so I could calibrate my guns for a 4:3 ratio, which is what most of the light gun games use. So I just aimed for the stickies during calibration so my aiming reticule wouldn't try and go too wide during gameplay. The great thing about calibration with arcade guns is there's no software required. All calibration settings stay within firmware. Just don't sit too close and aim using your wrist, not your arm, when aiming at the three calibration points. A third-party utility software called Troubleshooter is an absolute must if you plan to use dual light guns while playing PC titles such as House of the Dead or Virtua Cop. As you can see here, my boys enjoyed playing House of the Dead 2. The off-screen reload function worked perfectly. Likewise, Virtua Squad worked equally as well. Good trigger response, the reticule tracked well, the guns were very accurate, and you'll notice there's no white screen flash upon trigger pull. Even my 4-year-old got in on the act.
Yeah, this is a fun game.
The guns are comfortable and worked well with one or two-hand use. While arcade guns prove to be 100% MAME compatible, there is some required configuration both in the MAME interface as well as the individual ROM set configuration screens. Instructions on how to do this is described well in the manual, but it does take a little bit of time. The manual also does a great job highlighting any nuances or special instructions for individual MAME games if needed. It's best to use MAME version 0.134U or higher, since there's been a lot of improvements in how light guns are used and treated since that version. All three buttons on the gun can be configured to work with any style light gun game MAME has to offer. Even rapid fire, second button reload, or alternate fire work perfectly if those functions were originally part of the game. Here you see auto reload and rapid fire working together. Here you can see how well the gun tracks on screen. You may notice that by default, MAME places an aiming reticule on the screen. This can be turned on or off depending on your own preference and the gameplay style of the particular game you're playing.
Reload.
Revolution X is an example of a game that originally wasn't a true light gun game in the arcade, but rather a positional gun game, meaning it was essentially a joystick attached to a gun. Nonetheless, it can be configured within MAME to work flawlessly with arcade guns and work just like any other light gun game, as you can see here. This game uses two firing modes, so both the trigger and the lower handle button are active. The buttons and trigger on arcade guns are configurable to any type of custom setup.
You can't kill me, Copper!
As I stated before, the calibration on these guns is kept within the firmware, so even if the guns are unplugged and then replugged in later, they will still keep their calibration settings. This is a real positive.
Eat lead, Copper! Nice shot.
Terminator 2 is one of the few MAME games that require in-game gun calibration. So to play this game, you essentially have to calibrate the guns twice, once for Windows and again for the game itself.
No problemo. It's Judgment Day. Nice shot.
As you can see here, I had some fun playing double light guns with rapid fire and alternate button launching of grenades and rockets. Overall, I was really impressed with arcade guns. The only thing I could think of to make them better would be to add a hardware recoil feature. Okay, hope you enjoyed our demo. For more information on arcade guns, go to arcadeguns.com. And be sure to visit us at cheapskategamer.com for our full review of these guns, as well as for information on free AAA PC games and information on killer deals on AAA PC games. Thanks for joining us. Until next time.